superstar, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters, and we ain't got nothing to hide.
What up? What up? What's up? Welcome into Pregaming here at Sports Money. Hope everyone's having themselves a lovely Tuesday. It's August 27th. We are almost to Labor Day. We are almost to college football, and we're almost to the NFL. So it's a lot of fun that we've made it through the summer, but stakes are certainly going to get amped up. We got a lot of work to do to get this cash because money never sleeps. Neither do we. Neither does Ron Crawford. Shout out to his KBO, killing them books overnight. Gets himself a nice little 3-0. Shout out and appreciate my dude, Ron Crawford, getting it done for us. Hope you guys are ready for a big night. We've got the Tuesday night live stream, Dana White's Contender Series. Now, they've done it a little different for us this time around. It doesn't start at 7. It starts at 8. So we have a little bit more time, which is fine. Gives us time to get through today's show. I've got a lot of baseball. You'll see what I want to cover. Get a little break. Rehydrate. Get the cocktails flying. And we're going to be back here at 7:40 p.m. It's going to be a great show. Excited about the cast that we have lined up. This all-star panel growing by the show. And you already know it's going to be a ton of fun. So make sure we get the books ready. Find those spots now. We're 3 weeks deep. I believe it's 8. I believe it's 8 weeks that they're doing this for us. And there's no UFC this Saturday. So gives us an opportunity to get some combat in our lives while we cap and cash some baseball. Big baseball card tonight. I almost think every team is in play today. I want to say it was a 15 slate card, if I'm not mistaken. We've got the U.S. Open rolling in tennis. We've got some WNBA. Now, there's no NBA for the show today. There's no WNBA for the show. Look, shit to bed last night. I'm pissed. It's a decent baseball day. It was a horrible WNBA day. So I got to go back. I got to tweak some numbers. Listen, I'm not just going to give you guys plays. We believe in the 60% system, but at the end of the day, got to win. It's important that we win. And last night was a pretty good winning day. I'll say that it was satisfactory, right? Pretty dialed in on that Houston game. Now we lost the Houston spot. Sucks. I believe I said it was going to be 2-2 after 5. Sure enough, it was, right? But sadly, in the extras, the Phillies came through. In October, you won't be hearing me say that. But sadly for now, for our bankrolls, the Phillies came through. It was a plus 160 spot. We'll talk about this game tonight on the deck. Boston -1 got roasted and toasted. In hindsight, it was outside the minus 125, plus 125 barrier. And then Minnesota got roasted and toasted. But San Diego cashed, the over 9 cashed, and the Rockies cashed for us. So WNBA out of the equation, 0-2 in the WNBA. We live to fight another day, and that's what it's all about. Just keep stacking them high. We're going to let them fly, and you want to make sure that you're in the game for when we do just that. 3-2 in that Rockies game. Shout out to a couple of you that reached out to me and said, hey, you like this Rocky spot? Why don't you take this under? And I did. So I appreciate you guys that reached out and got me on the under. Speaking of reaching out, let's talk about tonight. We're down to just 8 days, I believe? 8 days until the NFL season starts. I know you guys, lots. I think we've given away 10 NFL Survivor entries. Record number. We're going to do it again tonight. I'm going to pin a tweet to my profile for the 7:40 p.m. start for DWCS. I need you guys to like and repost. Throw a comment in there. I don't care what the comment says. I really don't. Well, as long as the comment doesn't say pimp slap, you're a piece of shit. Or anything else derogatory towards anybody. Then it's good. If you want to talk about a fight, you want to talk about a bet you have, you want to talk about a parlay you're on, you even want to ask a question. Okay. Like the tweet, repost it, make a comment. We've got several more NFL Survivor days left before we get to the season. And since there's no Saturday, UFC, we want to make sure we give you guys an opportunity to get in the game. So pay attention after the show. That's how we're going to get this thing to go. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button. Welcome in. We're ready to launch. You'll see the games we're going to cover. I got a parlay for us tonight. Look, 5-leggers are falling one short. We'll try a 4-legger. Let's put a 4-leg parlay out there. It's just around 16-1. So no absence of value. Just reconfigured a little bit to try to keep it around that 16-1 mark. Then we're going to jump back into the Cans and the Phillies. We're going to talk Kansas City and Cleveland. How about that? Kansas City. I should say Cleveland. 1-15. Write this shit down. This is why you need the pen and paper. Kansas City. I'm sorry, Cleveland. I screwed it up again. Cleveland. 1-15 in doubleheaders. 1-15 in doubleheaders. We're going to cover Toronto and Boston, Texas and the White Sox, San Francisco and Milwaukee. We're going to bring around home with the Mets in Arizona. Still a couple games I want to cap for the later show as well. Colorado and Miami's a spot I want to get involved with. And I've got I think it's a 12. Let me look. It's a 14-2 trend in this Dodgers game as well. So plenty of work to do, you guys. Let's get the business there. Make sure you guys not only smash the thumbs up, get that aforementioned pen and paper ready. And let's get your plays in the chat so we can talk about how everyone wants to get paid. We got to move at a brisk pace because we do have 6:40 starts, including this parlay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 6. Come on, schedule makers. Come on. 6:40 games. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. We're going to get through it. And we're going to stack it at the end of the night. So speaking of stacks, shout out to my dude, Justin McCalvey. He likes a little rooker over 1.5 bases at even money. Shout out to NJ Striker, NJ Wallace. See you guys out there, man. We got Gerald Jones. Good evening, Pimp and Crew. His best bet is the San Diego Padres. Got him at -135. Shout out to Kenny Wood. Shout out to Nasty Nate. Shout out to Nasty Nate. The Mechanic, a.k.a. The Wrench. You know what happens. You certainly don't want the neighbor getting involved in your business. Shout out to Subhuman Gaucho. 2 hours until DWCS. We're going to get together early for you guys so we can talk about all the action beforehand. Figure the easiest way to give everybody a chance to get to the plays they want to make is let us all get together early and talk about it for you guys. So we will do just that. We also have some things in the works going forward for UFC. Chris Sella's in the house. Steve, my dude, Steve Fahrenbeck. Let's get this money. What's the move tonight? Sub. Kenny Woods giving Sub the shout out. There's my dude, Old E. And shout out to Old E, man. You know what? It's bad luck to cheers with water. I'm going to pull the bottle up here. Gifted 5 memberships today. Impromptu get together on Racing with Razor Stream. My dude, Old E. Gift away, baby. I appreciate it, man. Love you. Thank you very much for that. And we did make some money on Racing with Razor Stream today. I dropped in. I expected to be there an hour. Next thing you know, it's almost 4 hours later. Cashing tickets. Speaking of cashing tickets, there's my dude Keith, Each Every Stride. He's going to join us tonight. He's going to be back around. You already know the deal. My dude comes in there. He likes that UFC. He gives you guys that fire. Going to see him. We said Old E says on the grill, but got you on monitor. The Futon Bets is in the house. Likes the Mets money line. Says, let's make a stack tonight. Fuck yeah, dude. Dana Delp's out there. Appreciate Dana Delp rocking through with us. Jake Dub. in the house. Dana Delp likes Ellie De La Cruz for an RBI. Julian Cesario says, what's up, fam? Let's go. Thoughts on Padres? My dude, I'm going to give you a Padres play. You don't see it on the screen. It's a Padres play for sure. There's 3 spots tonight that I like the particular way I want to play a game as well. We'll talk about those. Big picture, high level. Cameron Sinet's in the house says, are they extinct? Are they extinct? My dude, shout out to Sharpie. He's going to be there tonight. Sharpie's coming around the way. Going to be a ton of fun, man. I love it. Love what we're doing. Love the fun we're having together. Love the people that we're hanging out with. You know what I mean? It's a reason that we're winning more bets. Just bringing around good, hard-working cappers, sharing their best action, man. That's what this is all about. Shout out to KV. Says Dana, total is 10. Like it. Possible stolen base, too. TBE Racing. Got to meet TBE Racing earlier today. Shout out to TBE Racing. It's great to see you, my dude. Appreciate you coming in. We cash the straps on this side of the network. We're straps cappers over here. Jay Dubs says everyone is on Ellie De La Cruz tonight. He's going to go 0 for 4. Oh, man. There's that dude, Joseph Alvarado. Kelly B says, since he's been winning or losing by the run line, you know that. The run line whisperer. That is KB. Also says hot weather. 104 degrees in St. Louis. Damn. Woo! Dominic Diaz says, as much as I love hearing the comments, I'm ready to take notes, Mike. Diggs BTW1 checking us out at Twitch, baby. Shout out to Twitch. Shout out to Diggs, man. Come on over. Migrate to the YouTube side of things. We got some big things popping over here. Big things popping. Love to see you out there. Diggs BTW. It's good to see you, my dude. Joe T says, where the hell is my comment? Posted this early this afternoon. Joe T's sleeping at the wheel. Steve says, my eyes are on the Yanks pads, money line, Diamondbacks, and team total over. Astros over, Guards over, Rays, team total under. There's my dude Fletcher Barry in the house. Good to see Fletcher. Kelly D says, was looking at Oakland, Butler. Go. Let's go. Megalodon says Fletcher Barry. All right, you guys. Let's do it. Let's get this first thing go. Whoop. Before we go anywhere, let's recognize Joe T, man. The assault on the unders. The assault on your bookies. Being spearheaded by Joe T. Look at this. The Royals and Guardians over 9. The Jays and the Red Sox over 9.5. The Pads and the Cards over 8. Is it Pads or Pods? Does it matter? Do we have to say it to play it? I don't know if we do or not. Shout out to Robert Dixon in the house. He likes the over 7.5 in that Cubs game. Justin McKelvey giving some shout outs. And the Futon Bets brings us full circle. Tigers, Angels game delayed till later today. I should have just stayed off that Minnesota game yesterday. I don't know what to say. It's ugly. God, it's embarrassing. I'll tell you what. I made some bad plays. I was embarrassed by that play. Jesus. The only thing that's positive about that play is it was lost by the second inning. I mean, it's not how we want to get down. So let's get back in the grind. Let's figure out a way to make this money tonight, you guys. I appreciate everybody hanging out. If you haven't done so, hit the thumbs up button and stay tuned. Giveaway tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4 legs on this parlay. 4 legs indeed. Let's see. Where do we want to start with this one? Let me do this. Let me do this. I've officially gotten to the point where I got to go back in and delete a bunch of shit between videos being downloaded, graphics, updates, this and that. Oh man. We're getting slowed down in the game here. So the Jackson Merrill Padres. Guy's a gunner, man. Running and gunning for this rookie of the year spot of things here. And what does he do against Miles Mikolas? This is me picking on Miles Mikolas. Why? Because he deserves it. If you look at Miles Mikolas' performances, like his last 7 games, every game but one, he's got 3 Ks. One game, and I think we bet on this game. He had 7 Ks. I think we had him in a parlay for under 6.5 Ks or whatever, and he gets a fucking 7. Everything else has been 3s, and you look at Jackson Merrill in the 6th hole, the center fielder, 2 at-bats, 1 hit, a 500 with Miles Mikolas. Now, there's some great numbers that we'll talk about for this Padres game, just to keep things rolling. I expect there to be runs, just like we saw. I don't know about just like we saw last night. I think the San Diego Padres team total play is fucking stellar. Dylan Cease is in a nice 8-0 spot as well. So for Dylan Cease to be able to perform at an 8-0 opportunity, him specifically, not just like a Major League Baseball wide situation, he's got to have his bats perform. We saw Manny Machado fired up last night. I had Louis Arise for an RBI. He did not get the job done. Not mad at Louis Arise coming back there as well. Jerickson Profar. But I like, and especially with Xander Bogaerts being in front of Jackson Merrill, the lefty, 6 hole, priced ridiculously for being in the 6 hole. Sometimes you lose the ability for this guy to get that 5th go round. And so they start pricing him around 200s or so. Not this guy. Why? Because as a lefty, he eats righties. He destroys. He destroys. He's a 318 out there against righties. And Miles, he's about the same lefty or righty. It doesn't matter. He's just mediocre. A 280 and a 277. 277 against lefties, batting average, 280 against righties. So I'm going to take a little Jackson Merrill to start this thing off. Number 2 on the list. We're looking at none other. One of my favorite guys that I don't seem to get enough play on. Ryan McMahon, Colorado Rockies. Taking him to get 1 or more RBI. Why? He's been firing. We know batters get hot or cold together. They do it in clumps or whatever. In 5 games played, his most recent 5 games, he's got 19 at-bats. He's hit the ball 5 times. So he's hitting around, 20%? Around 20%. But he's got 3 RBIs with that. When we look at the pitching matchup out there, it's roast him and toast him time. It's Roddery Munoz day. Never played a game at Coors. Very important note. Piece of shit as he is, we also see in the lefty against righty matchups, we have favorable opportunity. We see Ryan McMahon loves hitting RBIs at home. He's got 32 ribbies at home. He's got 29 of them against the National League. He's got 7 alone in the month of August. He's aging like a fine wine. He's 32 points better when he hits at Coors versus being on the road, of course, the thin atmosphere. Then you look at a total. 11.5s out there now. 11.5s. They're expecting runs. He hits a 400 against Miami. And the last 3 times he's played Miami, he had 10 at-bats, 4 hits, and 2 ribbies. We're going to take a little McMahon action. He's priced standalone at plus 175. Excuse me. Next guy on the queue. Tip my hand a little bit so that we can move quickly through this Phillies game. I don't expect Nola to shove tonight. Last night, we talked about the pitching duel, 2-2, the under, and then Houston winning. Ping pong, though. Remember, it kind of ping pong back. It went down to plus 160. Then it jumped back up to plus 164. Those late minute moves here with this show, super critical to know, and that was a factor that kind of cost us last night. But Nola, he's not the 6+ deep guy anymore. He's been going around 5 1/3 innings. His last performance shows that they're starting to become some fatigue. He allowed 8 hits. He got 2 walks in there as well. Those mean typically full counts, right? He's not hitting somebody by pitch, but he's getting the full count because he's just gassed. And he let up 2 runs. Furthermore, his under 5.5 K prop line is getting steamed. It opened up at minus 118. It's up as high as minus 165s now in some books. They're expecting it. Now, his last start was that classic coming back after he had 6 shutout innings the game before against the Nationals, but he allowed 7 hits against the Nats. Only struck out 4 batters as well. I love the under 5.5 Ks for that spot. And then last but not least, it's Ohtani. I told you guys, got a big trend in this game. A lot of it going to involve Shohei Ohtani. I know that the question about the hand issues and things like that were a factor, but, what do you want to say? 2 bases. If he gets walked and then trots around, it's cashing. If he hits a home run, it's cashing. He's 333. He's in the leadoff position overall against Cole Irvin. Then we look at Cole Irvin, kind of potential struggle situation. 316 against righties. Kiki Hernandez, shout out to our guy Jay Peasy, the role player of the Dodgers, Kiki Hernandez. And then Chris Taylor, 8 and 9. We're looking to get this guy on base. We're looking to drive him around the horn. It's 2+ bases, though. It's not RBIs. Excuse me for misspeaking. But it's 1579 plus 15.8, almost 16-1, almost a 16-1 4-leg parlay to kick this thing off, you guys. Tell me what you think. Are you going to tail it? Let me see what you guys have to say about this. I know Robert Dixon said that over in the Cubs. Huton gave us his action. Hugh Janus is back. Not small anus. Hugh Janus. Taking Atlanta again today. Says, let's get this cash. Callie V. Ohtani, 27 at-bats, 8 hits, 6 of them were extra bases. She likes it. She likes the prop. Let's go. Brian Smith says, Zona pitching change. Autoplay on Mets for me. Oh, no. Who's pitching? It's not Fod anymore? Who was it supposed to be? I capped this game this afternoon seeing it was Brandon Fod. I still see Brandon Fod. Shout out to Razor Sharp Picks. Says, I have some extra bullets for tonight. What are we looking at? Let's have a night. We already had a day. Damn. Man, Razor was, I thought I had a day. Woo. 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 Razor. Cashing $1,600 pick 4s and pick 5s and $500 pick 3s and woo. Woo. Shout out to JPZ. There he is. Says, what up, motherfuckers? Let's go, JPZ. Rob McMahon's in the house. Let's go. Fletcher Berry says, you got to cash one of these on the show parlays. I know, man. I know. Well, we're playing them individually as well. So, easiest way for me to cover them all. Run them down the line for you guys. Let's go. Game number 1, full official play for us here. 6:40 p.m. start. We're looking at the cans. That's the trash cans. That's the cheaters. That's the Astros. And we see him playing the Phillies. Again, interesting spot. So I tip my hand in this one, right? We might as well get it on the old big screen. Might as well get her up there. Where is it? There it is. This line opened up Phillies big favorites, -162, down to -135. But they have 81% of the bets and 73% of the cash on the Fighting Phils. This totals at 9. Now, we've talked about this before. The 9 is that key number in baseball. Oh, so important to note. When the books are popping 9s out there, they're thinking there's going to be runs. We have 72% of the bets and 74% of the cash on the over. Hasn't moved. There's one spot we'll talk about it in a minute. That's going to be a factor in this thing here. But, on the surface, you look at these pitchers and you see Verlander with that 3.92 ERA. And then you see Nola with that 3.45 ERA. I believe this line movement had a factor to do with the transition back for Nola, right? Or for Verlander. First start since May was his last one. And so they were trying to kind of baby him in there. They're kind of trying to throttle him easily back in there. Well, since then, this line just continues to drop. Now plus 123 from plus 125 earlier. 120s, 115s, 114s out there now. No, it's not FanDuel that has the best number. But again, I mentioned the Nola situation here. Just kind of that point of the season. They're not getting decisions by this guy. They're just not catching wins. And shout out to Razor for his big Phillies call yesterday. But I don't know if he was on it or not, but I know he was celebrating the Phillies win. That was 10th inning. Could have easily gone the other direction. It didn't. We'll take the L. We'll own it. But that line was plus 160 and ping-ponging up. This line's 125 and ping-ponging down. That's a big factor in how I approach this game here. I do think the Astros find a way to come through, become victorious in the spot. I like the plus money opportunity for it. Going right back to it, just because I missed it yesterday, doesn't scare me away today. I like Verlander. I think he's fresh and rested. I think he's going to ease himself into this one, and I think he's going to figure out a way to get it done. Let's see what happens there. I gave Ron Crawford the shout out earlier. He's back. He's in the house. 3-0 on the KBO. Killing the bookies overnight is our guy, Ron Crawford. He's got a 3-pack for you guys. Houston, Kansas City, and the O's. Let's use that as the, well, I don't want to use that as the segue in, Ron, but we're going to talk about this game next. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Kansas City. Let's talk about the Guardians. And let's talk about this pitching battle. We've got Michael Lorenzen coming over to this squad. I kind of expected him to shit the bed. He has not. The Guardians, Gavin Williams. Probably the suspect guy in their lineup. Probably. 5.13 ERA. Probably not probably. Pretty much definitely. But this Guardians line's on the move. Minus 148, now minus 155. 75% of the bets and 63% of the cash on the Guardians. And it's moving in their direction. Plus 126, now plus 140 for the Royals. The Nines have 93% of the bets and 94% of the cash on the over. As I was looking at this game, I talked about yesterday. The Guardians. Now 1 in 15 in doubleheaders. Is that crazy? 1 in 15. These piles of, I don't want to say shit. I don't want to call them piles of shit, but 4-3 and 9-4 losses yesterday. They clearly came and phoned that one. What does Cleveland do after they lose both games of a doubleheader? They're 6-0. They bounce back. Now, let's not get overly excited about being 6-0 in that spot. Now, granted, to go 1 in 15, that's 8 days, right? That's 8 days of doubleheaders, right? Because 16 games make up the sample, 2 games in a doubleheader. That's 8 days. 6 in a row, they bounced back. And one of those games, if they're 1 in 15, comes out of the sample. So it really comes down to 7 days. 6-1, over 7 bounce back opportunities, but 6-0 in their most recent stretch, if you follow the math. That made a lot of sense to me. Cleveland, bullpen. Challenge I have with Kansas City. If you could just kind of look at their strength of schedule. Yeah, they had the Phillies, and now they've got Cleveland. So that's kind of becomes murderer's row to some degree for them. And they lost those last 2 games against the Phillies, busted up 11-2, 11-3. They had to bounce back and get those first 2 W's. To me, it feels like a Kansas City spot. But as I was looking more at it, I found some numbers that popped out for me as well. Some things that got me a little angst. We talked about coming back after the doubleheader. The spots that were popping off to me were these overs. And when we look at the total, we see that where's the bookmaker pegged this line when they opened it up? Nines. Suggesting there's going to be runs. The Kansas City side of things, after a non-game 1 in a series win, 7-0 to the over. Average line, 8.6. Opponents are scoring almost 8 runs a game in those spots. Now, Kansas City second in their WRC plus for sure, big factor. How about the Guardians? Non-game 1 of a series off a loss. So the first one was non-game 1 of a series off a win is an over for Kansas City. Cleveland, same situation off a loss, 13-1 to the over. Average line, 8.1 runs. Average score, they're putting up almost 6 runs a game in those spots. Then I started looking Kansas City. So we talked about Cleveland bouncing back. We talked about both these teams in the loss or a win in the overs. Kansas City, 1 in 10. Last 11 games on a Tuesday. They're being outscored 6.6 to 3. Kansas City's bats, 14 points less effective in WRC plus when they're on the road versus at home. To me, this is Cleveland. Where the fuck is my numbers here? This is Cleveland bounce back spot. But I went down those team totals specifically because the way I found to play this is Cleveland team total over parlayed with the Guardians. When you look at the numbers right now for the Guardians, they're sitting at minus 148. Now there's still a minus 155 out there, but there's 162s, 165s, and 166s. I don't want to count on Kansas City's bats puking up their nuts like they did against the Phillies, 2 runs a pop. I don't want to see the Guardians have to go out there and put up an 8-pack just to get this thing to cross the over. I don't want to take the Guardians minus 1 because the margin of victory in that 6-0 situation is 2.3 runs a game. Doesn't really instill confidence that they're going to go out there. If you say, well, why don't you just take the run line? It's not enough of a margin. Like the spots that we want to hammer with these types of situations, you guys have seen it long enough. We see margins that are 4 or 5 games a pop. Those are the spots that we want to hammer. These ones, So, Cleveland and the team total over. Cleveland and their team total over 4.5 at plus 115. The other spot that I had with Cleveland is Cleveland and San Diego, parlayed together at plus 180. Similar breakdown for San Diego. They're in a 6-0 position with Dylan Cease, as I mentioned, and it's their runs. So I was looking at their team total over for runs as a standalone play, but I opted. I like Cleveland to bounce back. I think they got the better bullpen, the better batters, despite what we've been seeing out there. Kansas City showing their propensity to roll this thing over. And so rather than San Diego in the team total over or their team total over, I might still take a look at their team total over. But Cleveland and San Diego parlayed together for me was the spot I wanted to get at. There's one more spot I didn't get to. I'm not going to go official on it. Sports money, that alternate line team total over kept me off this game, says Old E. Justin McKelvey says Royals money line and over 9 parlay in my pocket and bet separate. The lines don't match. DraftKings. Let me look. Oh, no. Oh, no. No overtime for razor sharp picks tonight. Let me look. 6:40 p.m. Down to just a few minutes. All the way on the right-hand side, game parlays. Cleveland wins and the Guardians get over 4.5 runs is now plus 110. So it's come down a little bit. It's come down just a little bit. Oh, she said he can. Can. Razor. The entirety of that word changes between the T or not. All right, so this line's moved to plus 110 for Kansas City. Look at the other one that I was looking at for you guys. I was looking at the Yankees and their team total over 5.5. I don't like to take team totals of 5.5. Plus, this line's pegged at 9. And it started at 9.5. So in some books, it's come down a little bit. I do see the Yankees is juiced. I'm just kind of throwing this one at you guys off the cuff if you were thinking about looking at a spot for this one. The Yankees in the over 5.5 is minus 105. Well, why would you pay? I would rather pay the extra 20 cents just to get them to get their team total over than have to deal. I don't expect them to lose this game. Razor says, the phone doesn't want him to, but he can. He is a go for the show. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. I can't wait. Let's roll. Let's go. Let's keep her moving. Let's keep a brisk pace. We got 4 more baseball games to cover, and Texas White Sox game is lit up Christmas tree style. So ultimately, I stayed away from that Yankees Corbin Day specifically because I don't want a 5.5. I'm not concerned that I can say I'm concerned they don't get 5.5. You know what I'm concerned of? Jazz Chisholm knocks a home run and they end up scoring like 2 runs and it's a 2-1 final and everyone's scratching their head going, I laid 2.5 runs and I lost. If you look at the first 5 for that Yankees game, I know it starts in 10 minutes. 2.5 is minus 145. There's nothing going for me there. Toronto and Boston. Let's get back to business. Let's get in the game. There is things going for me in Toronto and Boston. Man, You guys have heard me talk time and again about these AL East teams on the road. Now, it hasn't worked out great on the West Coast. It hasn't worked out for shit. But Toronto's found a way to come out there. My neighbor looks, as soon as I say but, she looks through the window like, what's he doing in there? What's he doing in there? So he's doing something. Pros versus Joes, the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. Minus 146 for the Red Sox has dropped to minus 134. 75% of the bets on the Red Sox, but 59% of the cash on the Blue Jays. Where's the concern from the books? Obviously, the big money hitting the Blue Jays. We'll talk about it in a second. 10s are where this total opened. It's dropped to 9.5. We have 80% of the bets and 84% of the cash on the over. Uriel Rodriguez, 4.33 ERA. Playing poorly. And 1-5 means they're just not getting enough runs to come back from his debauchery. Criswell, 4.41 ERA, but 5-4. Are playing good enough to come back from his debauchery. Then we look in the last game, 7-3 yesterday, 10 runs. A little sweaty if you were sitting there parked on that over. I was parked on that -1. Not that game. But man, the Blue Jays fired off the Angels. Now they're on a winning streak. Don't look now. It's a winning streak at 65 and 68. And these two teams are jockeying for not the worst position in the conference. That number is going to be owned probably by Tampa Bay, especially with all those trades that they made. But here's some numbers that I found. You guys help me come to the center of this one here. Toronto's got a 17-3 overrun off a game that they score 6 or more runs. 20-3. Average total 8.6. Average result 11.5 net runs in that 20-game sample. Also, we just talked about them torching the Angels and torching the Red Sox. They're number 1 in WRC plus their last 14 days. Here's where it got a little tricky for me. The Red Sox are 0-7 when they come off a loss as a favorite. Straight up and run line. KV stats there. Run line losses galore for these guys when they lose as a favorite. However, the Blue Jays 0-5 in Rodriguez's last 5 starts. They're allowing opponents to score almost 7 runs in Rodriguez's bad starts. That's how bad he's doing that. They're scoring a shit ton against this guy. I want to side. I want to be on Toronto. I do. I don't know if it's because it's my team. I don't know. Here's what I do know. Just give me runs. I got a 9.5 at minus 105. It came down from the 10. If it goes back to 10 again, I think that's good. I think both these two pitchers are going to struggle. We saw 5.5s for the first 5. 5.5s have moved down to 5s. There's even a 4.5 out there now at DraftKings. Jeez. What's going on there? But then I see the totals. Minus 105 to the over 9.5. I think that's great money. I think it's great ROI, and I think we got some great totals that show us that game should get there. I'm taking the over in this game. Love me some over. Don't be afraid to look at Tristan Casas as an RBI opportunity as well. A plus 175, I believe, was his number. Kind of like what that guy had up his sleeve from a batting perspective. But official for us, Toronto over 9.5. Let's get to this game because I lit this game up. Lit it up. Rangers, Heaney, White Sox, Crochet. Lots of things to talk about with this game. It's crazy because let's start with the numbers. Let's just get to the numbers. Let's get back to the basics here. 80% of the bets and 91% of the cash on the Rangers. I don't think I'm surprised by that. White Sox are fucking 31 and 101. I think the number that popped up the other day is they've got the worst Major League Baseball record in the last 20 years. We talked about that here. Then we see the total started at 9 and it's come down to 8.5. 8.5. 85% of the bets and 81% of the cash is good enough to be reverse line movement. What do we know about Heendog? 4.04 ERA, 4-13. Texas. Bad. But recovering numbers, spin rates, velocity, new pitching coach. Andrew Heaney's numbers aren't as bad as they look when you peel back the covers. And then we see Crochet. What's going on with Crochet? It's that arm fatigue. He's just not going as deep as he used to, right? Like right around the trade deadline, they were talking about like, do we start pulling him out early because we want to try to get top value for this guy and we don't want him to hurt himself and have to go get Tommy John? Or they didn't. They couldn't trade him. They wanted a king's ransom for him and they got stuck with him, which I think further supports this guy not getting stretched, not getting tested, not going deep. Couple things you got to know about this game. Texas in a 10-10 spot, 10-0. Kind of, I laugh because I obviously I know the number, and so when I think about it, just last because it's obvious. It's not obvious, but it makes sense. When you're on the road against the White Sox, and you were on the road against them the last game, they're 10-0. You're 10-0 in those spots. That's a Texas Rangers spot. So we got a little reverse line movement to tackle in this thing because I do want to get involved on this Rangers team. However, I do want to get involved on these unders, both the first 5 and the full game. You guys have heard me talk before about the White Sox. We're either taking them in the first 5 plus a half, or we're taking them in the first 5 under 4.5. Today's the under 4.5 day. We got road favorites off a road loss as a favorite, 24-8 to the under, cruising under the total by 2. I say cruising for 2, but I talk about it not being enough for a margin in Cleveland because when you're pegged at an average line of 8.5, 6.5 is a pretty significant under. It suggests, as I look at this, that probably both these pitchers do okay, or these bats are just fucking pathetic. And to me, it kind of feels like it's probably a little bit of both, right? 6-3 the last game, the White Sox versus the Tigers, 9-4, 13-4, 5-2 losses. What do they got? 13 losses over 4 games, 3 runs a game. Then we look at the Rangers. They got shut out. They scored 1. They scored 5. They scored 5. They scored 2. We got ourselves 13 runs over 5 games, under 3 runs per game. Now I'm buying into that 10-0. Fuck the White Sox at this point. Probably could get away with that first 5 plus a half. But I like loading up on this game here. I'm really going heavy on the under. Really expecting this game to line up for the under. Just cold bats and decent pitching. And I know when you look at the numbers, you're going to say, well, the pitching isn't decent. But we've got reverse line movement on the total. And it's reversed for a reason in my estimation. So the only other one that I looked at, I didn't put it out there because I just haven't played it. Starts at 8, so we'll talk about this as we get closer to the Dana White contender stream. But Texas in the over 8.5 is plus 200. In my cost-benefit analysis, when I look at, the whole strategy of going wide and casting a wider net for games with the volume, is that 205 isn't enough. It has to be around 245. It's actually 248. If it's plus 248 for me, because of just the calculation behind the scenes, that's where I would have jumped in on that spot. I'm sorry, that's the over. I'm talking about the under. 235 is where the number is right now, plus 235, and it's got to be 248. So that's just the calculation. You guys can feel free to hit me up any given time. You guys are firing in the chat, man. I love it. Love you guys, man. Let's see what's going on out there. Please say Rangers. Got them in a 4-leg parlay, says Fernando. Yeah, it is Rangers. It is Rangers for me. This is the highest. This 10 for 10 spot. It's just bad. It's bad for the White Sox. And there's not enough dudes that can go out there and pitch or hit when it comes to the other side. Peter Grossi says, my wife is at Toronto Sox game. Hope she doesn't jinx my over bet. Hopefully she comes back and she's like, oh, so great. They played till 3 a.m. They scored 72 runs. Wouldn't that be fucking great? That'd be funny. They stopped selling beer. I don't know, Peter, I don't know if your wife's a beer drinker or not, but they stopped selling beer after a minute. Johnny C says, Crochet, it's going to look great on the Mets next year. Yeah, that could very well be. JP says, Rangers have 1 Tuesday game on the road in the last 4 months. Maybe they do. It is the White Sox. Eesh. We don't want to start playing on their dues, right? AOD says, Happen Suzuki on fire. Fletcher Berry says, Redbeard, the over 9.5 only, or Toronto. AOD says, Hazy like a Fox IPA. Just hit so good. Judge McKelvey says leaving tonight. Boots on the ground for Phillies and Astros tomorrow. Yeah. There's my guy Vienna. What up? What up? Gee, had some fun today, my dude. It was a lot of fun. All right, let's go. Let's go. We got 2 games left on the docket, and this is a double dipper for me as well. Let's get to this game. Let's clean this up. Let's move that around. And let me just double check. Wasn't a double dipper, but I made it a double dipper, and I forgot to enter it over here. Next game on the docket, the San Francisco Giants, the Milwaukee Brewers. I might be on an island, and it's not the first time I've been on an island, so I'm fine with being on this island. I said it before. The Brewers aren't what their numbers show they are. Sorry, Joe T. You're still my buddy. But they're just not. All those grand slams. I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but for anybody that's new that hasn't heard it before, all those grand slams skewed their advanced baseball statistics. What have we seen in the last 3 weeks? All kinds of shit. Exit velocities falling down, number of runs they're scoring per game are falling down. You name it. The metrics go on as far as kind of what's happening out there. On the flip side, we see Myers. Okay with Myers. I don't have anything against the guy. I do expect him to start being a regression candidate as well. But at 2.87 ERA, he's shown that he can certainly support kind of the test of time, or at least the test of recent time. The other side, though, for me, it's Logan Webb. Logan Webb's the star of the show here tonight. 3.13 ERA. And the guy's just a fucking machine. You want me to... I was talking about 2 things. So Milwaukee's bats, right? We talked about their grand slams and their ability to kind of jack. I talk about it. When I say we're all in the trust tree together here. They're 4th rated overall in ground rate Major League Baseball hitting effectiveness right now. 4th. Lots of ground balls. I mentioned their exit velocities down, their barrel rates down, all the advanced batting statistics. But Logan Webb, man, this fucking dude, he's got a 0.96 ERA. Only 4 earned runs in his last 37.1 innings pitched. They're also 4-0-1 in his last 5 starts, San Francisco. Bad spot, I think, for Milwaukee tonight. Now you look at these numbers, you look at these lines. I could have literally parlayed every one of these games together with the total because I like them that much. 7.5s and 8s are floating around out there for this Myers and Webb ensemble. Now, here's what I like most about this. I'm not going to take a side. I'm only taking unders, specifically because when you look at Myers, and I mentioned, do I think he's a regression candidate? I do, just because of the age of his experience in, I know he said stand the test of time, and now I'm talking about his age, but still a young dude. However, 7-1 in his last 8 starts. He's holding opponents to 2.6 runs per game in those starts. To me, if you've got Logan Webb sitting on a 5-0, 4-0-1, and he's holding his opponents to less than 1 earned run, only allowed 4 earned runs over 5 games, and he got Tobias Myers still allowing 2.62 earned runs over that 8-game sample. Doesn't look good to me for the Brewers tonight. But I'm on the unders. I was looking across the slate tonight, and I was thinking there's another game I like the under in, but it's getting some rain delays on it. There's 3 of them that I really like it. 1 is Texas. We just talked about it. 2 is this game. I'm going to pay up a little bit for that hook. And then 3 was that Detroit game. Huge trends to the under for that spot. And we saw yesterday, they got to that 9, but it's a little sweaty to get there. I'm surprised they didn't go over. I really am. I thought that was a nice looking over spot from our guy Razor. He pushed. Not a loss. But still a spot that I was just scratching my head a little going, wow, I can't believe they couldn't. Just kind of died out like the bullpen. And this is where Detroit's bullpen is picking up the second half of this second half. And I think that's why that Detroit spot has a really nice under look to it, but there's weather factors involved in that game. And I don't want any piece of it. I do have a piece of this game, though. I double dip San Francisco. Take that first 5 under. Take the full game under. I think both these pitchers have a nice little battle on their hands tonight. And young guy going to learn from the old. What's that scene in Step Brothers? The young. What's that scene go? Somebody knows the scene I'm talking about. She's had enough of the old bull. She wants the young calf. You guys know the scene I'm talking about. Stop. Stop. All right, let's go. Last game on the card. We'll get you guys up out of here. We got about just under an hour. We're T-minus 49 minutes until we pop off for the Dana White Contender Series here. And Joe T. Well, Joe T, tell me you're a Brewers fan without telling me you're a Brewers fan. Oh, there it is. Oh, you make comments like that, fucking wrench comes away. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's go. I'm just kidding. Let's talk about this Mets and Arizona game. Last game on the board for me, and last game on the board for me with an asterisk, because there is that Dodgers and Orioles game. I do believe I'm going to end up making a play on that. I do want to get involved in that Rockies and Mariners game, as I mentioned, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that Tampa-Seattle. I don't think I'm going to do anything with that Tampa-Seattle game. I got fucking clubbed like a baby seal on. I added Tampa late. After a decent day, I added Tampa late, and I fucking woke up with a headache. So anyways, Mets and Arizona Diamondbacks, 9:40 p.m. out there in the desert. We got a line that has got 75% of the bets and 86% of the cash on the Diamondbacks. Kind of course correction, right? When I talk about book stabilization or book correction, the Diamondbacks open at minus 116. They're sitting at minus 110. The Mets have went from minus 102 to plus 100. Shout out to our guy, G. We got a new member up in the house, my brother. Appreciate my dude. Probably saved me from getting my ass kicked in Texas. My dude. G, appreciate you, brother. New member, baby. Membership is open, you guys. And we are very much listener supported. So need your help. Need your guys' help with the likes. Need your guys' helps with the memberships. We're trying to give it back, man. We're trying to give you guys everything we can to go out there and all make that cash together. So it takes a ton to do that. And my guy, Guillermo, shout out to him. I hope we see him in just a little bit here tonight. The Mets and the Diamondbacks total, 92% of the bets and 89% of the cash on the over. And I know somebody had mentioned earlier the pitching change in this thing, but this one doesn't affect me from that regard because two things. Shout out to Red Bearded Chick. Red Bearded CLC, Red Bearded Chick. I don't know if it's a chick. No disrespect. Gifted a membership as well. Man, now I got to put her on pause. We'll raise the bottle. Woo! Woo! I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you very much. Redbeard gifting the membership, you guys. If you do become the recipient of a gifted membership, pay it forward, man. Get somebody else a gifted membership out there. My guy G becoming a new member. We're growing, baby. Make sure you guys turn notifications on for sports money as well. Members only. Special place. Afternoon baseball place. We just started it on Monday. But in all fairness, membership wasn't available till Saturday. And we came out 1-0. Came out 1-0. Make your money back and then some for these memberships, you guys. All right. Diamondbacks on a hell of a tear right now. Kicking the shit out of everybody. Traveling, don't matter. Miami, okay. But Boston was the series in Boston. Runs flying. Boston on a nice little win streak. They got torched. Arizona hits them 12-2. Arizona hits them 4-1. Arizona hits them 7-5. The Mets, I don't trust the Mets bets. I just don't. I'll tell you what. Best way for us to win this bet is for me to go out there and bet on Nimmo or Alonso to generate offense, or McNeil. Because those three guys are fucking bums. And Ron Lofton said it. There is that off day as well. Well, we got some numbers behind it, you guys. Big numbers. Now, first of all, You can't roast these teams like a skewered shish kebab if you're not doing something in the WRC plus category. That is the Diamondbacks. Third. Now, let's not forget the Diamondbacks pill. Last year, they lost in those playoffs, right? Not happy. Something to prove, trying to come back together and push as they finish the season off for baseball. They're third right now in WRC plus across Major League Baseball. They're also 9-0 when they come off a win as a dog. 9-0. It's the margin that is so impressive. A 3-run per game margin in those spots. We talked about the Blue Jays and the overs after they score 6 or more runs. How about the Diamondbacks? When those bats get hot, 6 or more runs in a game, they're 9-1 in their last 10. Makes a ton of sense. Hot bats stay hot. They're third overall in WRC plus. I don't trust this Mets lineup. To me, collectively, how can you not jump in here and you're getting a great price? We're going to close out the baseball card with a little Diamondbacks action here. -110. Line really hasn't moved. I know you could argue it has, but I think that's market correction. Just something I've been measuring for a while. Also, I don't have this one that comes up very often for us, but who's got the best number for the Mets? FanDuel. I'm sure they're fine folks. But I should put FanDuel on that left side under the shit list. They've shut me down on horse racing. They've shut me down on Dana White Contender Series, and they have now limited me on UFC fighting. I don't understand what they got against me. What do you got against me? Why? Because I withdraw cash? Yeah. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're here to do. I appreciate you guys, man. We are at the buzzer. We got a lot of things to work on tonight, man. We got 43 minutes. And the best UFC live crew is going to join you guys and give you everything you need to go out there and have some fun tonight. If you're new to MMA, check it out. It's 5 fights. You don't have to stick around for 15 hours. We get this thing done in like 3. Not to mention, we bring on the heavy hitters. You're going to get prop bets. You're going to get side and total bets. You're going to get parlay bets. You're going to get everybody going around the horn talking about how they're playing the UFC. It's going to be a ton of fun, man. I appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. I told you guys we are listener supported. Very much appreciate the new members. Shout out to my guys rocking with us here. G, appreciate Red Beard coming in there, dropping the gifted membership. And we're just getting started, man. It's going to be a ton of fun tonight. I'm excited for you guys to see what we got in store. Time to get back to work, get this card busted up for the UFC. In the meantime, go out to the community tab. Our guy Subhuman Gaucho has posted his early looks for the UFC. We'll be back here in 40 minutes to talk to you guys about how we're getting paid. Appreciate everybody up in here. No time for the goodbyes. We're just going to say see you in a few minutes. Thanks for everybody. Good luck with your bets. Good luck with the